who guides us and supports us at all our development aspects. She is none other than our beloved principal, Dr. Ushaa Eswaran. I would like to address the gathering.
Respected chief guest of today's function, Mr. John, and my dear HODs of various departments, staff, teaching and non-teaching, and my dear wonderful, sparkling, beautiful, handsome boys and girls. A very good morning to you all. So I always wonder why there should be one day for women to celebrate as Women's Day. When I was browsing through what has been happening during Women's Day for several years, what people do during Women's Day, finally I got a conclusion that people talk about the problems of women, people talk about the problems of women, and people talk about the problems of women. We have not gone to the next step of talking about solutions for those problems. So this is one thing which has been bothering in my mind. What happens when we talk only about problems? What happens when we cry? What happens when we blame, when we scream, when we have debates, talking only about problems? So what do we feel as women problem? Women say majority of Indian men do not respect women. Not only respecting women, they disregard women, and they don't have value for womanhood, and they don't respect the potential in women. But can we categorize that all men are alike? Can we say all men fall into this group? When I personalize my experience in my life all these days, in my world, from my home to the workplace and the society, wherever I have been, men have been a soil which helped me to grow. Definitely, a woman's success cannot happen alone. Right from my birth, from my dad, from my brother, from my husband, and from my children, and in workplace, all those men who have worked with me and all those societal people who were with me had made me to stand in front of you today. So I cannot categorize that every man in this society are the same, but I do not deny that there are women who also suffer due to this problem. But are we going to get a solution by just talking about the problems? Our theme of Women's Day today is Be Bold for a Change. What is that change we are expecting? Are we trying to spend our time talking about the men of this generation that they don't respect women? Or are we going to make use of this time to make the new generation who can respect women? This is a big question mark posed in front of you. When you talk about problems, we are only blaming the present generation men, saying that they don't respect women. I have a question. Do women respect women? In all cases, when we see, there are women who don't respect women themselves. And there will be a men who will be saving that women who have been accused by a woman. Right from your home, if you ask your mom, there is a brother and sister in the family, the mother may say, boys don't work, girl has to work. Why? This is how I've been brought up. This is how our Indian system is. You have to follow the same. So a mother, if she feels her self-respect, first respect her own feelings and make her son understand the equality among men and women right from home, I am damn sure that the next generation men will definitely respect women. So right from your home, we need to start inculcating in the minds of the men. It need not be a grown-up man. I can right now start with a child of age 8. In another 20 years, the new generation men are going to treat women equally. So this is the solution from the problem what we are talking about today. So instead of gripping on today's men do not respect women, there is no safety for women. Instead, we can invest our time to inculcate in the minds of the young children right from your home to respect women. In Indian marriage system, generally the parents of a girl child will look for a boy. When they look for a boy, they look for a horoscope matching, religious matching, financial matching, status. If they are abroad, find out whether they are a green card holder, whether my daughter will have a posh life. This is how the parents look for a match. But girls, every one of you are in the age of getting married in another 3 or 4 years or little more. You look for the boy or the family which respect womanhood and which can respect the potential of women. Everything else will match, but how you are going to be happy in the family depends upon what is the status of women in the minds of the family members in the family where you are going to get married. Because a man gets married to a woman, whereas the woman gets married to the family. By being a good husband, a man can say he is a good man, but by being just a good wife, the woman cannot get that name, because she has to be a good mother, she has to be a good sister-in-law, she has to be a good daughter-in-law, she has to be a good cook, she has to be a good interior decorator, she has to be a working woman, she has to be a good societal, she has to maintain a good societal relationship, she has to understand the practices of the family, she has to do each and everything in order to satisfy the family and get a good name. So a woman has to marry the family, whereas the man has to marry only the women. And the sacrifices what the woman has to do once she gets married. A father or the mother would not like to marry his daughter if she has to forego what all aspirations she had all these years. If that is going to be enhanced after the marriage, then that is going to be the successful marriage life for their daughter. So we have 2 circles actually. Imagine a bigger circle and the inner circle. Inner circle we call it as a center of influence, and the outer circle we call it as a center of concern. Circle of influence is something which will be under your control, and circle of concern will not be under your control. So now people celebrate Women's Day saying that the entire world should change, entire men folk should change their mindset and they should start respecting women. But these speeches will not have any change in the entire world. So where you have control is first in you, then in your family, then in your close relative circle, then it has to enhance. The circle of influence is you, your family, your relatives, and the people who are around you who are under your control. Once this is achieved, if you are able to convince the circle of influence, the radius of the circle of influence is going to reach the circle of concern, which is nothing but the entire world around you. Instead, if you are going to concentrate only on the circle of concern, you are not going to get the result. Negativity is going to be predominant, And the radius of the center of influence, circle of influence will also reduce, because you will lose your confidence in convincing people and changing the mindset of the people. So to bring a big change, you need to start from the small. Right from you, change your mindset. Instead of talking about the problems, think about the solutions. Instead of gripping about the present generation men, think about the future generation which is in your hand, your children or your brother who are there, or your relatives who are very, very young, where you can make them understand that men and women are equal. Give respect to the feelings of the women and encourage the talents in her. Understand the potential of women and how it can be shown to the world, and make her feel that she is not under any control and she can be free. When you talk about women in institutions or in corporates, we all have a feel that the women cannot go beyond certain limit in her workplace. There are a lot of restrictions for her to break the glass ceiling, which will come up after certain stages. But now there is a lot of improvement that women are more educated. But the thing is, after education, the women do not take up jobs. Only 50% of them take up jobs. And beyond that, going into a managerial position, again another 50% drop out. And there comes the glass ceiling. The glass ceiling has three components. One is the experience and the education, and enhancing their skills. To reach that higher level, there is a barrier that is called as human capital. And gender differences. Generally, women cannot do everything as men do in an organization. As if you want the superior to know about your excellence, you need to upgrade them or update them quite often, which the women do not do. And when it comes to talking about salaries, again the women have difficulty in discussing about it because of the gender difference. And then the prejudice. Men think something about women due to their past experiences. Suppose if a position has to be given to women, they may have n number of reasons to avoid that. The reasons may be the women may not come to the organization completely, because if she gets married, she may have to take a break for her pregnancy or delivery. And again there will be a transfer or a higher position that the women will not be able to take up. And they are very emotional. Even in a tight situation, they may break up and they will not be able to handle certain situations. These are some of the prejudice which may act as a glass ceiling, which may prevent women crossing that level and going for higher levels. If you see, the topmost position of women remains only in 2% of the women who take up education. But if you see the qualities and the capabilities of women, you cannot compare with anyone with women. The leadership qualities of women are phenomenal. It is all inbuilt and inborn. Even in your mom, you can see the leadership quality of a mom without getting a proper education. She is not an MBA with a HR or a marketing or finance, but still she will be able to manage the family extraordinarily, which is an inbuilt skill of women. And most of all, the multitasking capability of women can help her to lead any organization just like that. So with all these things, instead of wasting our time gripping about the problems, let us all think about the solutions. Be bold for a change. Never sit and cry. That is not going to bring anything for you. I am boldly standing here and talking about it